Alright, good morning everybody. It's been a little while since posted some video. We have the model to this stage. I worked ahead without a whole lot of camera use. I apologize for that. I just other things have come up and preoccupied me, and then I started working and realized I didn't have the camera on. But at any rate, here's where we are. So the tail is attached. It's been tacked with super glue and then reinforced with white glue along every seam. The lower wings have been installed using the shipwright's cross, which is talked about in a previous video. The way what I use for alignment, among other things, is this right angle drawn onto the building board, and I use a T-square for that, and a builder square for the vertical line, horizontal line with a T-square, and then you can use lengths of piano wire to extend a line out if need be. You can extend the line right off the edge of the table if the model's big enough. Just make sure you line it up. You can tape it down over these lines to hold it in place. And again, it's just a temporary extension of the cross that you made, of the lines that you made for your shipwright's cross. And once you get everything lined up, your fuselage lined up over that line, and the wing over the intersecting line, you just mark the identical point on the wingtip that you want to use. Whether you can use the leading edge if you have enough room, trailing edge if you want, on a straight wing, or measure and mark the center of the wing itself. Just measure from fore and aft in two places, draw a line with the pencil at the point you're measuring from, and you achieve that line that you want to use when you're checking for no, I don't have much room here, when you're checking your alignment. So as long as you line up your checkpoint on the same reference line, it should line up with the mark you've made on the wing. You're finding your center line. You want to make sure you have your fuselage centered over your datum line, and in this way you can achieve a square build with the assistance of your shipwright's cross, and whatever else other tools you might want to bring to bear. So that's where we are at today now. So at this point, and I can still pull off these main landing gear struts, the shock absorber struts. I can pull those off. I've made the fuselage cabane struts and marked them: right front, right rear, left front and left rear, LF and LR, and that just tells me where they go. So they just need to be sanded and finished up, get the wood grain removed from them, get them polished so they're prepped for paint, and I'll paint them. I'll paint what I've got here. The wings will be yellow, fuselage green, tail planes will be, rudder and horizontal will be yellow. I'm probably gonna put a white stripe around a white fuselage band here, and the rudder itself will be white. It's going to get the red, white, and blue striping, and this center fuselage, not the center, but the fuselage band is going to be red and white. So I'll lay down the base of white, and then cover it with tape where I want the band to be, and then spray the green and then the yellow for the tail after masking the white part of the rudder. And we'll get the fuselage and lower wings painted. The upper wing is finished, and once I get the fuselage cabane struts painted, we'll begin to align the upper wing, and then I can secure those paint those those cabane struts, those fuselage cabane struts green, and mount them, get them on there glued in position, and then I'll begin working on the outer wing, the wing struts, and we'll get those built up, prepped for paint and painted, and then I'll set the wing using the fuselage cabanes as an anchor. We'll set this up using a white glue so that we have some maneuverability, and then I can get the outer wing panel struts aligned and trimmed if necessary. Cut the piano wire down a little bit. I'll bend it a little long so that I have room to cut it to fit, and then we'll secure those with the white glue, and we'll make a temporary rack that'll hold the upper wing in position while it dries. And then once it's dry with the white glue, we'll come back with the CYA adhesive, the super glue, and retack everything. Every connection will be retacked with the CYA glue using a pin applicator, so that we don't have a mess. But anyway, that's where we are here. Almost time. It's almost time for color to go on. Let me think. I don't know if I have any other information at this point to pass along. Yeah, so that's our position today. That's where we're at today. So I'll hopefully I remember to have the camera on while I'm working on the struts and getting the wing lined up and so forth. I still have a lot of work to do, but it's getting closer, and we almost have an airplane. It's standing up on a gear. The wings and tail are in position, so you can kind of pretty much see what we should have here. Paint every step of construction. You can say, well, this part's easier, or we're more than 50% of our toward completion. But paint, and obviously the prep for paint is more. It is really more than half of the outcome is dependent on a good finish. So you can build up something and say, wow, that's that's about 90% of what I wanted to accomplish. That's it's square and clean and everything, and then you start going with paint and I mean projects, I don't want to say they can be lost just in the paint process, but that last that last step is a big one. So it's important that you build right, and just as important as you do all phases of the build correctly, it's just as important that you do all phases of the finish correctly. It's one of the it's a key challenge in the hobby. So and it's not any easier to manage. I mean, some people are more adept at construction than paint. Others are better at finish and paint than they are at construction. But you really want to try to get both of those, I guess, elements. You you're constantly working on on perfecting, on getting it better and better. And so that's what this is about. So here we are at construction. Construction is good. These struts are critical. They must be measured out and be as identical in every way as they can be to each other. The reason I selected, okay, so for front and rear, the rear ones are just a skosh longer than the front struts, and I noticed that it's to give me the correct set of the wing. I didn't want it tilted forward and tipped this way, and I didn't want it angled backward. You want it to sit relatively with maybe just a slight nose down cant, and that's for in-flight attitude, right? So if the wing is tilted backward, right, too far backward like this, the airplane is going to want to do this in flight. While it's flying level, it'll have a nose down attitude, and that's incorrect. The same if you have it tilted too far forward. If the wing is angled this way, if it's angled this way, forward, your in-flight attitude is going to be nose high, and that's incorrect also. So when the wing is set, it can't be like this, and it can't be like that. And pardon me, I have a cold. I apologize. You want to get it straight and square, and we don't want this or this, and we don't want this or this. Obviously, this wing has to be on here correctly. So it's critical that the struts be well measured and made as close to identical as possible. In other words, the two forward struts here will have to be identical to each other. The two rear struts will have to be identical to each other. The fore and aft struts will not be identical to each other. The rear struts will need to be longer, and we'll see that when we get the wing set on the fuselage cabanes. We'll see exactly what that measurement needs to be. The upper wing is pre-drilled to accept the struts. There you see it's been pre-drilled outer fuselage cabanes and the opposite outer reinforcement strips here. As per the prototype, the actual aircraft has reinforcements under the fuel tank. The fuel tank is a center wing mounted tank right here. That's why it has the reinforcements underneath the wing. So again, we want to make sure we get this flat and square, and we'll use our shipwright cross when we're mounting the upper wing to keep it square to the fuselage so we don't end up with any twist. We'll have this lined up here. We'll make our marks on the upper wing so that we're over the line on both sides of the aircraft. We're centered, and that'll give us our shape if all goes according to the plan. And if it doesn't, we'll always build another one. But it should work out. I want to say that we'll make it work. How's that? All right? Everybody have a good day. I'll get back to you later. And again, I apologize for my cold. It's day 3 or 4 of this thing. Anyway, later.